most in this world will be protected no matter what happens to me. I know that the dreams I have for my family can still come true. Financial security, to stay in the home we became a family in, and for our children to be able to go to college. I reached out to SelectQuote because I wanted to share my story. If just one person purchases life insurance, I know I will have made a difference.
SelectQuote can find a 37-year-old male a $500,000 policy for under $1 a day.
If there are people you care about, you need life insurance. It may be the single most important financial decision of your life.
Don't put off protecting your family. Get your free quote now. Call 800-671-7070. That's 800-671-7070. 800-671-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com. This is a paid endorsement. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Not available in all states.
President Trump finds an unlikely ally as he moves to block Chinese telecom firms from selling their wares to U.S. companies. More from Bob Agnew.
I firmly back these measures.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer almost sounds like the president himself when he says
China has taken advantage of us.
And Schumer says there's now a growing consensus.
Whether it's business, labor, average American citizens, Democrats, Republicans, everyone agrees China takes advantage.
Takes advantage by not allowing reciprocity for U.S. high-tech firms like Google and Facebook, something Schumer says it's time to change. Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
State of California has sued to block the Trump administration from canceling nearly $1 billion for the state's high-speed rail project. The Federal Railroad Commission announcing just last week it would not give California the money awarded by Congress nearly a decade ago, arguing the state had not made enough progress on the project. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. An airline industry group is predicting another record summer travel season.
If you plan a summer vacation, you may have to elbow your way onto a flight. The industry expects almost 3 million passengers a day to travel on U.S. airlines this summer, a total of 257 million people. That's up almost 3.5% from last summer's record. A spokesman for the group called Airlines for America says air travel is the safest form of transportation, and airlines, he says, are offering low fares. Rita Foley, Washington.
Armed robberies have become so common aboard buses in Mexico City that commuters have come up with a clever solution there, buying fake cell phones to hand over to the thieves instead of real smartphones. The bandits regularly attack the buses that ferry people from the poor outlying suburbs to jobs in the city. More of these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
America spends 5 to 10 times more on health care than any other country in the world. Then why does America rank number 43 worldwide for longevity? Third world countries, such as Cuba and Costa Rica, rank higher than the U.S. So what's wrong with health care in America? This is what's wrong. Our $3 trillion healthcare industry is focused on disease management, while 70% of our planet relies on traditional indigenous medicine that is focused on health optimization. Learn how. Join Dr. Dan Royal on the show The Royal Treatment, bringing you the latest information on the best of medicine, biotechnology, and pharmacology, as well as secrets from the past. These secrets have withstood the test of time and are being rediscovered today. In fact, indigenous healthcare practitioners are using them for the benefit of their patients who seek optimal health and wellness. Now, here is Dr. Dan Royal.
Greetings, listeners. I am Dr. Dan Royal, and you are now listening to The Royal Treatment. We're here every week, and you believe that? Every week, to answer your health questions. Who does that? Not many people, because we're all so busy with our lives. So hopefully you can take some time out today to learn something new that can affect you in a positive way to help increase, to improve, to maximize, to optimize your health and well-being. That's why we're here today, to empower you with information that you can use to achieve that goal of optimizing your health and well-being. Why do we do this? Well, because your doctors can't help you. Your doctors are trained in disease management. They are simply educated on how to deal with your symptoms by prescribing medicines based upon what you're complaining about. But there is no hope in Hades, if I can use that phrase, of curing you of anything, certainly not of improving your health. That's because the current medical system, the current insurance-based industry is a disease management system. Anyway, we're going to address that during the next hour and do our best to steer you in the right direction. First, I'd like to thank a couple of our sponsors. First, the Turtle Healing Band Clinic. Turtle Healing Band Clinic is where I work in Las Vegas. If you would like to call us here, the number is 702-562-1454. That's 702, the Las Vegas area code, 562-1454. You can also email me at any time if you have a health-related question. My email is D as in Daniel, Royal, R-O-Y-A-L, like Royal Blue, at Royal Medical Clinic, all one word, .com. D Royal at royalmedicalclinic.com. I will answer your health questions, whether on the air or off the air. But if we answer your question on the air, there is a bonus. We will send you a free bottle of RBC Blend. That is the product that has been custom made for us and help you to increase circulating stem cells in our patients. That's because stem cells don't normally exist in your blood. You probably didn't know that. That's because most doctors who obtain stem cells are getting them from your bone marrow or from your fat. But the reality is we can get them from your blood. We just have to do something to attract them into your blood. And for some reason, this particular product accomplishes that. So we will send you a free bottle of RBC Blend if we answer your question on the air. That's a $100 value, which includes shipping. I'd also like to thank the First Nation Medical Board, which is another one of our sponsors. First Nation Medical Board, along with Turtle Healing Band, are under the direction, the jurisdiction, supervision, if you will, of the Crow Tribe of Indians in Montana. We are an Indian Nation facility because we practice indigenous medicine, and that's what the First Nation Medical Board does. It protects, I should say, or provides protection for physicians who wish to practice indigenous medicine, which includes all things alternative. In fact, I just created a fact sheet today about the First Nation Medical Board. If you'd like a copy of that, you can email me at the address I mentioned, droyal at royalmedicalclinic.com. Hopefully, we'll be posting that on the website soon, which is firstnationmedicalboard.com, where we answer many of the questions that people ask about the First Nation Medical Board. I went through them, or some of them, this week with the licensee that we recently authorized to become a certified tribal healer. He's a practitioner in Illinois who's licensed to practice chiropractic medicine and also a PA or physician's assistant, and he's been undergoing some issues back there, none of which have anything to do with the patient complaint or patient bad outcome, which is so typical of the problems that we encounter with our medical boards throughout this country, especially if you are a practitioner of alternative medicine. So the First Nation Medical Board provides protection for them, protection in the sense that they're dual licensed. So now your physician, which in 49 states in this country needs dual licensure, can have protection by being dual licensed with the First Nation Medical Board. Because if they're doing something alternative, if they're trying to help you achieve health optimization, they're at risk of losing their license. That's because that, my friends, is not what they're trained to do. And the conventional medical board may decide to take exception with them. It doesn't matter that they harmed no one. It doesn't matter that a patient didn't complain. Some of them can initiate their own complaints. Sometimes jealous colleagues can file a complaint. It happens all the time. I recently defended a couple of licensees here in Nevada because I'm also a licensed attorney here in the state of Nevada, as well as with some Indian Nation tribes, the Crow Tribe in Montana, the Hopi Tribe in Arizona, and Hoopa Valley Tribe in California. And one of these licensees is with the Osteopathic Board, or a DO. The other is a dentist, licensed with the Dental Board. And in each situation, we had to deal with so-called complaints that came from jealous colleagues. The complaints had nothing to do with patient complaint or bad outcomes. Anyway, we're going to be moving on, and we're going to be talking about some things that I hope will be of interest to you. We're going to be reviewing obituaries. People who died too young from diseases they shouldn't have had locally, that's here in Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, as well as internationally. I think you need to know what people are dying about. And if they could have done something different, perhaps they would have listened to my radio program. So we will discuss that when we come back, because the life expectancy in the U.S. is declining, and that's something we address every week on this show. We'll continue our discussion after the break. You're listening to The Royal Treatment. Stay right with us.
Targeting cancer cells with DMSO reduces the need for full-dose chemotherapy by up to 90% because DMSO targets cancer cells, not healthy cells. Research demonstrates that DMSO, also known as dimethyl sulfoxide, has an affinity for cancer cells, which also allows DMSO to enter them even when DMSO is carrying chemo drugs. Could low-dose chemo with DMSO be the answer you've been searching for? Find out more by calling Dr. Dan Royal at 702-562-1454. When low-dose chemo is combined with DMSO or insulin, it's called potentiation therapy. This is because the cancer-killing power they create together is much greater than when they're administered separately. Are you a cancer patient who wants more than disease management? Could low-dose chemo help you achieve optimal health and wellness? Call Dr. Dan Royal at 702-562-1454 to see if you qualify for low-dose chemo. That's 702-562-1454.
Hi, I'm Bill Kendall. I've practiced law in Northern Nevada for over 25 years, and I specialize in representing injured people in their fights for just compensation and in representing parents in custody and visitation disputes. I've tried over 20 jury trials to verdict. I've arbitrated or mediated hundreds of personal injury cases on behalf of clients to successful conclusions, and I have personally handled every single case from start to finish. I am also a court-appointed mediator for the Washoe County Family Court Division, where I help parents negotiate custody and visitation plans. With me as your attorney, you can rest assured that your case will be handled competently and that I will be responsive to all of your needs and questions. My goal in every case is to have clients that are satisfied with the outcome of their case and who would recommend me to others. Give me a call at 775-324-6464 or visit my website, billkendalllaw.com. My number again is 775-324-6464.
Another Monday, another season. Out to lunch. Mondays at noon on 1180 KCKQ America Matters. Number 1 in Reno for community radio. I'm Deidre, your host. Do you have something interesting going on that you want to talk about? Speak up and be heard. I've had tax attorneys, bands, artists, fundraisers, authors, elks, doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. Anyone interesting with something going on can come be on the show. Let the community know all about it. Do you have something interesting or a charitable event going on? Mondays at noon, Out to Lunch on America Matters, 1180 KCKQ, also streaming live and podcasted on americamatters.us. That's also where you can contact me, Deidre, at americamatters.us. Or you can find me at the Elbow Room, Wednesday through Fridays, 2002 Victorian Avenue in Sparks. Call 358-6700. Out to Lunch with Deidre, Mondays at noon, 1180 a.m. KCKQ, America Matters, streaming live on americamatters.us. Number 1 in Reno Community Radio.
To find out what's hot and happening, join Lady J for Smooth Jazz Tune-Up.
Join me Saturdays, 10 to noon, here on America Matters.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
We are back, my friends, and you're listening to The Royal Treatment. Before the break, I said that life expectancy in the U.S. is declining. What do I mean by that? Well, the average life expectancy to which you as a woman or man are expected to live is declining. For women, it's about 81 years of age. For men, it's about 76 years of age. The average between the two being about 78.5. Why is this of interest? Well, it's of interest because the average life expectancy in the United States has been declining for the last 3 years in a row. That's 2015, 2016, 2017. We're waiting for the report from 2018, but expect it will be the 4th year in a row for life expectancy to decline, which means we will have now set a new record for the United States of America. For the first time in its history, life expectancy will have declined for 4 years in a row. The last time it declined for 3 years in a row was back in 1916, 17, 18, about the time when we had the so-called flu pandemic, which we've discussed on this show before, which was really a doctor pandemic prescribing aspirin for patients who had the flu. But it was also during World War I. We have no World War, we have no pandemic. So what's the excuse? Why is life expectancy declining now? Good question. As you know, there are some diseases that rank at the top of the list, number one of which is heart disease, number two of which is cancer. They're both virtually the same, about 600,000 Americans every year dying from those two diseases. The third is debatable. It's COPD, or congestive obstructive pulmonary disease. That is the third leading cause of death if you do not include medical mistakes, drug side effects. That's actually the number three cause of death. The number one cause of death, if you choose to include it in this country, is actually abortion. We abort approximately 1.2 million unborn American children every year in this country since 1973. That's twice the number of the number one leading cause of death in this country. What I've always found interesting, if you take that figure and you add it to the life expectancy of the U.S., the average would not be 78.5, but 53.9 years of age. But that's a subject for another discussion. Right now, we want to review obituaries. Nobody does this. Who cares about people who die? Well, I do. I find it very interesting that people are dying of a young age. Now, I say young. These are people who have not achieved their life expectancy. And these are local people as well as international. But check your own obituaries. Just see who's dying too young from diseases they shouldn't have had. Now, sometimes they may be tragic deaths. They could be accidents. Sometimes they're suicide, which we may or may not mention. But those suicides can be secondary to medications. Why do I say that? Well, if you look at the physician's desk reference and check the side effects, you'll find that antidepressants can make you suicidal. They can make you homicidal. Now, recreational drugs don't do that, but prescription drugs will. So just be forewarned and forearmed that if you're taking prescription drugs, they all have side effects. Even over-the-counter medications that are no longer prescription, they all have side effects, including aspirin. I have a lot of patients who tell me they're taking aspirin to thin my blood. Well, there's a lot of ways to thin your blood, so to speak, without taking aspirin or drugs. We've talked about that many times on this show. In fact, I just had a conversation with a friend before I came on the air who was drinking water with lemon juice to thin his blood. That's perfectly acceptable. You can put lemon or lime in your water, add negative charge to increase the zeta potential or negative charge of your blood like a magnet so they will not stick together. How simple is that? Just adding lemon and lime to your water. Now, if you're taking aspirin on a regular basis to thin your blood, what's the most common side effect of aspirin? Well, of course, bleeding. You can have unwanted bleeding. And if you have a stroke, you may bleed to death. But one of the common side effects of aspirin is ringing of the ears. So if you're having ringing of the ears and you're taking aspirin, better stop. There is a homeopathic that can be taken from that. Guess what the homeopathic is made from? It's made from salicylic acid, the main ingredient in aspirin, to neutralize that very effect. All right, well, let's get started with the obituaries. We have a 36-year-old man, a game video streamer who passed away due to complications from muscular dystrophy. We have a 47-year-old man, an entrepreneur in the vacation ownership industry, who passed away. 47-year-old woman who was diagnosed with cancer in 2018 passed away. 55-year-old man, a cabinet maker installer, passed away. 55-year-old woman, a psychologist, died from complications of a neurodegenerative disease. I always love it when they're nondescript in their obituaries. You might want to write your own obituary. Oftentimes, they don't even give a cause of death. 59-year-old woman who passed away from cancer. Sometimes they don't tell you even when they were born, so you really don't know how old they were. 59-year-old man, a geologist, passed away after a lengthy battle with an undiagnosed illness. See what I mean? We have a 62-year-old man, an architect, who passed away peacefully from cancer. 68-year-old man who worked as a security guard until he became disabled, passed away. 66-year-old woman, a worker of the university administration, passed away following a sudden illness. Sudden illness could mean heart attack or sudden death from heart attack. We have a 69-year-old man who worked as a correctional officer in the Nevada State Prison who passed away. A 61-year-old man who worked as a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer passed away. 72-year-old man, an aeronautical engineer, passed away. 72-year-old man who owned a bicycling business passed away quietly in his sleep. Again, could be sudden death from heart attack. 73-year-old man, a trucker, passed away after several months of deteriorating health and liver cancer. 75-year-old man who worked in the banking industry passed away from Alzheimer's disease. By the way, there is a strong correlation between Alzheimer's disease and parasites. Check out the research. Very interesting. We found some parasites in our patients, and one of the ways you can tell you have parasites is checking your CBC, your complete blood count. If your eosinophil level, your type of white blood cell, is highly elevated, you probably have parasites. And that can be treated prophylactically before you get something like Alzheimer's disease. 77-year-old man, a foreman in the lumber industry, passed away from natural causes. We have a 78-year-old man who worked for Delta Airlines who passed away. Now, let's look at international deaths of celebrity notables. People around the world who died too young from diseases they shouldn't have had. We have Mike Merlensiep, German soccer player who died at 43 years of age from cancer. I always find it interesting that these athletes who were in such phenomenal shape at one time in their life as a professional player of some sort die from diseases just like everybody else. Talked to a friend of mine who played and coached football at the collegiate level, and many of his friends went on to play in the NFL. He said that many of these athletes simply stop exercising and staying in shape, and they go downhill just like everybody else when their career's over. Got to invest in your health every day, my friends. Invest in your health positively and do things to detoxify, which we talk about on this show from time to time as well. David Chavinsky, Australian soccer player, died at 48 years of age from melanoma or skin cancer. Quinton Pongia, New Zealand Rugby League player, died at 48 years of age from bowel cancer. Dexter St. Louis, Trinidadian Olympic table tennis player, died at 51 years of age from a short illness. Ney da Mata, Brazilian soccer manager, died at 52 years of age from pancreatitis. Tommy Donbavand, an English children's author and actor, died at 53 years of age from throat and lung cancer. Jörg Kostendieck, German politician, member of the Bürgerschaft of Bremen, died at 54 years of age from lymphoma. Andrei Guzyenko, Ukrainian soccer player, died at 55 years of age from a ruptured aneurysm. Samuel Eugenio, Peruvian soccer player and coach, died at 60 years of age from complications due to surgery. That's that third leading cause of death we were talking about earlier. Nilda Fernandez, French singer, died at 61 years of age from heart failure. Juan Fernandez, Spanish Roman Catholic prelate and bishop of Astorga, died at 62 years of age from a heart attack. Steve Dumig, American golfer and sports media personality, died at 64 years of age from complications of brain cancer. Rod Tam, American politician, member of the Hawaii House and Senate, died at 65 years of age from complications of leukemia. Alexander Urkin, Russian football manager, or soccer player, I should say, died at 65 years of age from a heart attack. Yuri Bohutsky, Ukrainian politician and minister of culture, died at 66 years of age from complications of surgery. Rob Babcock, American basketball executive, died at 66 years of age from pancreatic cancer. Iris Melendez, Puerto Rican prosecutor, died at 67 years of age from cancer. Nativo Lopez, president of the Mexican-American Political Association, died at 68 years of age from bowel cancer. Osvaldo Patocletti, Argentine football player and manager, died at 69 years of age from cancer. I say football, soccer player manager. Ronnie Young, American politician, member of South Carolina House of Representatives, died at 71 years of age from cancer and stroke. Mira Zakai, Israeli opera singer, died at 76 years of age from complications of a stroke. Daniel Bays, American historian, died at 77 years of age from Parkinson's disease. And finally, Mike Wilhelm, American musician, died at 77 years of age from cancer. That's it for the obituaries. People who died too young from disease they shouldn't have had here locally in the state of Nevada and internationally around the world. Just in the last week, my friends, just in the last week. I'm Dr. Dan Royal, and you're listening to The Royal Treatment. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about some very interesting things that affect you and me. So stay right with us.
After forming all the organs and body components necessary for human life, stem cells disappear, right? No! Stem cells are present in all of us, just waiting for an opportunity to regenerate organs, joints, ligaments, muscles, and other body tissues they originally formed. Dr. Dan Royal has developed a unique patent-pending process for obtaining stem cells from your own blood. Stem cells can be concentrated, prepared, and delivered to areas where you need them most to repair old, damaged, and dying cells. Can your own stem cells help rejuvenate your body? To find out, call Dr. Dan Royal at 702-562-1454. Your own naturally occurring stem cells are the ultimate anti-aging treatment. They can be used to improve facial appearance and hair growth, as well as for aches, pains, and other conditions. Could your own stem cells help you achieve optimal health and wellness? Find out by calling Dr. Royal at 702-562-1454. Don't wait, call today. That number again is 702-562-1454.
Hi there.
Hi there yourself. You look great.
Well, I went to see Dr. Richard, and he helped me get off the booze and drugs. He even helped me get my court stuff straightened out.
My uncle told me he saw him too, and he has something called EMDR. It uses light wave therapy to help with PTSD, weight loss, anxiety, addiction, anger, and other stuff too. In just 8 sessions, my uncle got rid of his PTSD after years of suffering.
You won't believe this. He has that new Social Security program called SOAR. It's aimed at folks with addiction, alcohol, mental health, and homelessness.
I hear folks are getting benefits and housing within 101 days.
Yep, that's right. Folks should call Dr. Richard today at 775-683-1108. The first appointment's free.
Call 775-683-1108 or visit his website at docrichard.weebly.com. And you can catch him every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on this station.
Call Dr. Richard today, 775-683-1108. And don't be up anymore.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
We are back to the show, and I'm so glad to have you. You are listening to The Royal Treatment. I'm Dr. Dan Royal. I'm your host for this show. Now, if you're local and you live here in Las Vegas, feel free to stop by the clinic where I work, the Turtle Healing Band Clinic. We're located across the street from Desert Springs Hospital on the corner of Las Vegas Flamingo Road and Burnham Avenue. If you stop in to say hi, we'll give you a free bottle of Boost. That's a Nestle product. It's actually a protein shake you can use for your meal in the morning, or we have a breakfast powder you can use. Just say you heard me on the radio show and tell the front desk. Her name is Rona. Not Ronald, Rona. And we're here at 2121 East Flamingo Road. That's the Turtle Healing Man Clinic, 2121 East Flamingo Road, Suite 112. You get your free bottle of Boost or breakfast powder. Now, during the break, you heard a little bit about stem cells, and I wanted to just mention something briefly. As before the show, I received an email from a patient that wants to come here from California to receive stem cells. Now, there's different types of stem cells. There's the type that requires some effort on my part, and there's the type that requires no effort on my part. The one that requires effort is where you, the patient, have to take a product that I mentioned earlier to increase your circulating stem cells. And we can obtain the stem cells after you've taken the product from your blood. It takes a little bit of time for that to separate, for us to be able to then extract the stem cells from your blood. The other type that requires no effort is umbilical cord blood stem cells. And we can order those in various quantities. Of course, the price improves with the more that you order. So trying to clarify exactly what he wants to use and for what purpose. I mention that because stem cells are very disruptive. They have the potential to change our medical model where patients need not be taking medications. They may actually be cured from the diseases that afflict them. And that is very disconcerting to Big Pharma that relies on you, the people, taking their medicines. For how long? How long does your doctor tell you need to take your cholesterol medicine, your high blood pressure medicine, and so forth? For a lifetime. That's a lot more than buying a Coke at the corner grocery store when you're thirsty. That's having you rely on something you have been led to believe that if you don't take, you will die. One of the things I told a patient earlier this morning is when you're taking an anti-cholesterol medication, it affects all of your hormones. Did you know that? It doesn't just lower cholesterol as if that killed anybody, which it never has in the history of mankind. But when you take your anti-cholesterol medicine, it affects all of your hormones, and people wonder why they have problems. There's always a downside. And so you need to be forewarned and forewarned. You need to look up the side effects of your medications, talk about them with your doctor if you can, because doctors usually are completely oblivious to your side effects and simply prescribe another drug to deal with the side effects of the medication you're already taking, making you more toxic and more sick. Now, one of the stem cell companies I worked with was recently investigated, you should say, or audited by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. This happened about a month ago. They went into the office and they stayed there for an entire week. How would you like the IRS living in your home for 1 week? And they went through all kinds of papers. They had a stack about 1.5 feet high that they went through, and they would randomly pull sheets from that stack to see if the lot numbers that had been manufactured by the company matched up with what was on the paper and had been tested, and so on and so forth. I had previously told the company that you need to be working with the Indian nation. It's only a matter of time before the federal government finds a way to shut you down. And guess what? After all that, they came back again a week later. A week later, after they've been there just a month before. Now, this is a company that operates way above the standard of care. Way above. In fact, they have 9 compliance officers to deal with nothing but federal government regulations. Yet the FDA came back within a month on a so-called surprise inspection. And one of the questions they asked was, how much toilet paper are you using in your bathroom? That's how much they care about what the company is doing in terms of their manufacturing and whether everything has met all of the proper standards, sterility, and matches with lot numbers and so on and so forth. They care about the toilet paper in your bathroom as well. The bottom line is they're looking for a way to shut these disruptive businesses down. There's another disruptive technology, which is electromagnetic fields. Electromagnetic fields, I remember hearing a neurotrauma surgeon once say, is the future of healing brain disorders, brain trauma, brain diseases. Why is that? Well, when you go to sleep at night, your brain should be resonating with your body organs and helping to coordinate the healing and regeneration that should be taking place. it's not taking place very well, or I should say it's taking place very weakly, because the Earth's Gauss, which is the energy from which the brain derives its power to conduct this function, is only 0.5. 0.5 Gauss. Now that's a measurement of the strength of the Earth's magnetic field at this time. And we know that that strength has been decreasing since 1860 over the time that we've been measuring it. It's theorized that about 5,000 years ago, the Earth's Gauss was, well, I should say 4,000 years, was 5 Gauss. Now the studies that have been done on these electromagnetic fields were done at 5 Gauss. And they're all very positive. Now, they've taken about 6 months to achieve their results, but when we prescribe magnetic sleeping pads for our patients, we start at 10 Gauss. If you have a neurodegenerative disease, a brain disorder, for example, or you have cancer, then you need to double that and go to 20 Gauss or 2 magnetic sleeping pads. So let's say that you are sleeping on a magnetic pad of 5 Gauss. It takes you 6 months to heal from your affliction. By the way, these pads have over 90% success rate with eliminating pain from fibromyalgia and arthritis. That's right. Are you taking medications for your pain? You may be able to get rid of it 100% with over 90% success rate using magnetic pads over a 6-month period of time. And that's at 5 Gauss. Now, if you use 10 Gauss, you may be able to accelerate that by 3 months. If you use 20 Gauss, you may be able to accelerate it to 6 weeks. The point I'm trying to make is the higher the Gauss of the, or strength of the electromagnetic field, in this case it's a magnetic field, it's a static magnetic field, the quicker your body can heal and the brain can do its function more efficiently. There is a type of magnetic field. It is electric, and it can generate up to 30,000 Gauss. This was actually in a study, we call it an IRB, Institution Review Board study, in 7 clinics in this country. Study was shut down. Why was it shut down by the FDA? Well, they weren't concerned about how much toilet paper they were using, but they were concerned about the fact that the paperwork was turned in late. No patient complaints, no patient harm, only patient successes. In fact, a strength of 30,000 Gauss can heal broken bones within hours, literally. Not 6 to 8 weeks, but within hours. And it could do much more than that. But that's a disruptive technology. Hopefully, it will see its way to the Indian nation. Now, I want to talk to you briefly about a patient we had here recently who did something a little unique. We've talked about a treatment we have here in the clinic. We call it the Photon Protocol. The Photon Protocol is a combination of 2 different types of therapy, one of which is an electromagnetic field, a pulsing electromagnetic field. Now, the one that we use is the one that has been tested around the world and found to be effective in many conditions. The others are, well, they are imitators, and many of them can be harmful, even if they're more expensive. Why are they more harmful? Well, because they do not have the trade secret technology to protect the user from electrosmog. There's beneficial but also harmful electromagnetic fields or frequencies. But in this case, we used what we consider to be the best of that equipment in combination with a photon sound beam. Photon sound beam is, well, what it sounds like. It's using photons or light and sound together to energize the body. It's putting energy in the body through your skin in the form of light and ozone, which of course breaks down to oxygen. But one of the underlying theories is that our body needs to function at a high level, a high millivolt concentration, like a battery. And when that battery runs down, when the brain is not able to do its job and help you regenerate, disease sets in. Let's say you need to be at 70 millivolts or higher. You drop down to 60, you start experiencing disease. You continue down to 20, you have cancer. And thus, cancer could be reversed by re-energizing the battery, getting the body back to its former healthy state, if you will. Well, the patient who came here recently was concerned because he had highly elevated cancer antibody levels. We didn't know exactly why they were elevated, but we do know the test is predictive. That means that it can predict the presence of cancer up to 18 months before it actually manifests pathologically, where we might be able to see it on an x-ray, for example. So he came here to do a series of 20 treatments. Now, normally we do these treatments over a slower period of time, let's say over a month. We'll have patients come in once a day, Monday through Friday. The treatment takes about 24 minutes. In this case, he wanted to do 20 treatments in 7 days, which we did. And we didn't know how things were going to turn out for him. But I'm going to tell you how they turned out after we come back from the break. I'm Dr. Dan Royal. You're listening to The Royal Treatment, and we're talking about things to help you, my friends, optimize your health and well-being and make you smarter than your doctor. Stay right with us.
Low-dose chemotherapy uses only 10 to 20% of full-dose chemo, and it's known as IPT, or insulin-potentiated therapy. It's one of the safest and most innovative approaches to treating cancer effectively. IPT virtually eliminates side effects of full-dose chemo, such as nausea, hair loss, and fatigue. Could IPT be the answer you've been searching for? To find out, call Dr. Dan Royal at 702-562-1454. IPT uses low-dose chemo with insulin. Cancer cells have up to 20 times more insulin receptors and use up to 20 times more sugar than normal cells. That's why cancer cells thrive while normal cells struggle to survive. One study showed that using low-dose chemo with insulin resulted in a 10,000% increase in cancer-killing ability. Could IPT with low-dose chemo and insulin help you? Call Dr. Royal at 702-562-1454 to see if you qualify for IPT. That's 702-562-1454.
Hey everyone, Dave Escher here, introducing you to our new store, the Nevada Marketplace, in the Reno Town Mall. Anchored with the Buy Nevada First gift shop, we've added over 60 micro shops, giving locals a place to set up their dream store. We are now 20,000 square feet strong, supporting over 250 local merchants with all things made in Nevada and more. We have more locals in one place than anywhere in the state, ready to help you find that perfect gift. We're open every day with easy parking at Peckham and Virginia. Go to buynevadafirst.com, your source for all things local.
Destination Midtown. Experience the difference of Reno's premier shopping extravaganza.
City Mart and City Gas in the heart of Midtown. City Gas, 18 years of low gas prices with City Mart, good quick food, liquor, tobacco, and slot machines. City Mart and City Gas at the intersection of Center and Virginia Streets.
Midtown Reno. Everything imaginable and more. Midtown matters. Get down to Midtown fun. Experience the difference. Midtown matters.
Virginia City is the source of all the richness in the West. While today it brings us a summer of fun with camel races, cook-offs, street vibrations, outhouse races, parades, and many more events, it's never dull on the Comstock. A taste of all this richness can be found at Virginia City Kettle Corn Depot. Our kettle corn is made fresh every day with no additives, just coconut oil, sea salt, and some pure cane sugar. We also offer fresh caramel corn and white cheddar, to which we can add jalapeno. This summer we are adding freshly made cotton candy, and for hot summer days, Hawaiian shave ice, which on special occasions will offer some adult flavors like margarita, daiquiri, and pina colada. You can find Kettle Corn Depot at the south end of C Street, across from the Sheriff's Office. Our long-standing customers have faithfully been returning to Kettle Corn Depot since 2012. Come get your groove on in Virginia City.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
We are back to the show, and I am Dr. Dan Royal. Just a reminder about some of the things we talked about earlier in the program today. If you have a medical question, feel free to email me at droyal@royalmedicalclinic.com. That's D as in Daniel Royal, ROYAL, at royalmedicalclinic, all one word, .com. If you want to stop by the clinic and say hello, tell us you heard us on the radio, talk to Rona at our front desk, and she will give you a free bottle of Boost or a protein packet of breakfast essentials to use for your morning drink. Why not? It's from Nestle, tastes good, and it's free. Before the break, I was talking about a patient who came here recently to receive a series of 20 photon protocol treatments. We like the fact that these particular therapies are combined. We're big believers in synergy. In fact, the Investigational Research Board, affiliated with First Nation Medical Board, is designed to review products and protocols that are used in the practice of medicine, already existing, but preferably in combination. We're not interested in proving that any one thing is a miracle cure. What we are interested in is looking how things work in synergy. This is something we've talked about on the radio show from time to time. One of the products I was involved with years ago is the Protandim product. We found that that combination of not antioxidants, I apologize, adaptogens. There's a handful of adaptogens. There are thousands of antioxidants. But we found, or rather Dr. Joe McCord found, that not only did they increase the antioxidant production of the patient, but when used in combination, they were synergistic. In other words, much more powerful together than they were separately. And we found in our use of that product with our patients, it corrected all of their nutritional deficiencies. This is as they were measured by the company that we use in Houston, Texas, SpectraCell, the only company I know that grows your white blood cells in media. It takes, well, a good 10 business days or up to 3 weeks to get that information, to find out what you're truly deficient in, but it's accurate. And we found that when patients took this product, let's say they took it once a day, it might take up to 6 months. Let's say they took one twice a day or two a day, they could shorten their correction of nutritional deficiencies to 3 months. But they all did correct, which led us to the theory that the body will steal from other sources to make up for its lack of antioxidants and thereby create deficiencies. Interesting theory, should be expounded upon, but we did enough patients. We did enough to have what we call a t-test. T-test is a number of subjects, less than 30, and it helps us to document that there is some statistical significance if we want to do a larger study. Well, back to our patient. Our patient came here for a series of photon treatments. And here's what we found when I looked at his results. He had a couple of tests that we were looking at. One is nagalase. Nagalase is an enzyme the cancer produces, or virus, whichever the case may be, that acts to paralyze your immune system. Maybe it acts like a smoke screen so that your immune system cannot recognize them and therefore eliminate them. His nagalase level, and again, we're talking about 1 week's worth of treatment, decreased by 30% towards normal. That we thought highly significant. But the next result was most astounding. His anti-malignant antibody serum test, which is his cancer antibody test, improved 100% towards normal. Now, there are a couple of different antibodies that are measured with this test. And by the way, this test has been around for 40 years. Anybody could order it. It's not an antigen, which is what you get through your local lab. This is an antibody. There's a fast antibody and there's a slow antibody. And we look at both of those, plus the difference between the two. So the two that we were looking at were the slow and the fast. And in his case, the slow was highly elevated. It corrected 100%. The fast, which was already around normal, improved another 20% below normal. And the difference between the two, called the net tag, also improved 100% towards normal. Simply amazing. And I'm sure the patient was most thrilled because he was anxious knowing that this level or these levels of cancer antibodies were elevated without any particular known cause. But sometimes we don't know what's wrong with us until we do the testing. We're all walking around with problems, not knowing what they are until somebody actually takes the time to evaluate them. I personally have had some very interesting experiences using this combination of photon sound beam and pulsing electromagnetic field. The first thing I noticed when I used it myself was that my exercise endurance increased significantly. At first I thought it was a fluke, but then I noticed it continued even weeks after I hadn't had a treatment. What did it do? Well, I like to do cardio intervals. It is my type of exercise. and I will do it for an hour, and I like to use the maximum resistance or incline to do it. So it's rather strenuous. But I found that after 20 minutes, I no longer needed a second wind. That was number one. Number two, I found that, well, after about 50 minutes, I did not experience muscle fatigue, through which the body may be going through a transition from aerobic to anaerobic metabolism. But if your body doesn't fight through it, you may get muscle cramping. Those two things completely went away, became non-existent. So my exercise endurance increased dramatically. Then last week, I did my usual exercise, but I did something a little different. I hadn't used the equipment for a while, and I used one treatment on Thursday, and then I used a little longer treatment on Friday. And when I went to the gym on Saturday, I had my best exercise caloric expenditure ever using this particular exercise. I say ever, using it regularly over the last couple of years. I had a certain level I was trying to achieve, but could never quite get there and thought it was unobtainable until last Saturday. So not only has it increased my exercise endurance, it's also increased exercise performance. In fact, I had a patient of mine I talked to this morning who got a treatment last week. He found that his exercise for weight training, his exercise endurance increased significantly just the other day. And this is the only thing that he could attribute it to. And he is a very strong, very big man who played football in college and is trying to get back into shape. The other thing I should mention, we did talk about magnetic pads a little earlier in the program. And unfortunately, I was in an accident about 2 weeks ago. I was driving down the road. Someone turned in front of me, and before I could react, I hit them on the front of their car, causing my car to jump the curb and run into a wall. My car was totaled. All the airbags went off, and fortunately, no one was injured. In fact, I was able to walk away without a scratch. But I thought that I would be sore the next day, third day, fourth day, because I've worked with patients like this in the past, and it usually sets in a little later. And guess what? Nothing happened. I was perfectly healthy the whole time. Now, I still went to the chiropractor because my brother's an attorney and suggested I might want to consider that. So I did go to the chiropractor and I've had him work on me, which I've had him do over the years, but not because I was any particular pain I was concerned about. The only thing I could contribute that to was, at the time, I was using the magnetic sleep pads that helped me to recover as quick as I did. So there's much to learn about electromagnetic fields or even static magnetic fields that we hope to be able to share with you from time to time on this program. There are some other things I wanted to discuss with you, one of which came in the news recently, and it has to do with Walmart. You may not know this, but Walmart is now steering its employees to other imaging centers. Walmart found that there are a significant number of errors occurring in imaging diagnostics, or I should say the interpretation of what they're seeing with CT scans and MRIs. In fact, over 50% of the surgeries that were done on Walmart employees for so-called back disorders were unnecessary because the radiological imaging was improperly interpreted. Now, they said this wasn't because of cost, it was because of errors, and the study on which such errors was largely based goes back to 2013. So it was almost 6 years ago. But Walmart did tell its employees that they should not be going to hospitals that charge so much more for their imaging. So apparently, cost is a factor. Here are some of the things that were said in the article that was published back in 2013. Diagnostic errors are estimated to account for 40 to 80,000 deaths. Remember, we said that medical mistakes, drug side effects, are actually the number 3 cause of death in this country, killing 250,000 Americans every year. Diagnostic errors are estimated to account for 40 to 80,000 deaths annually in U.S. hospitals alone. And these figures only partially account for patients whose ambulatory misdiagnosis lead to death, and they do not include non-lethal disability, which may be just as common as death. Tort claims for negligent diagnostic errors result in billions of dollars in payouts annually. Nearly 75% of all medical malpractice claims against radiologists are related to diagnostic errors. In fact, every radiologist worries about missing a diagnosis or erring too heavily on the side of caution and giving a false positive reading. The article goes on to say that diagnostic error has been defined as diagnosis, which means it's missed, it's wrong, it's delayed, or detected by some subsequent definitive test or finding. In radiology, the most common problems leading to medical malpractice suits are due to failure to diagnose. This means abnormalities or misinterpretation of radiological images. We'll talk more about this next week. I'm Dr. Dan Roy. You've been listening to The Royal Treatment. Until then, my friends, you all be well.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch.